Hey folks, man, this is Cory, and we're back with another Classics of Cinematics episode, man. And I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo.
And today we got an interesting film. We're gonna be talking about 1987's Robocop, man. And this is a wild film directed by Paul Verhoeven. You might have known him if you've seen Total Recall, or if you've seen Basic Instinct, or if you've seen who's it, Star Troopers?
Oh, Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. Yeah. I missed the word. But this is a wild thing, man. Coming from the 80s, it can only come from the 80s, man. This thing, and
yes,
it's wild. On paper, it doesn't seem like it'll work, but this thing kind of elevates itself above the genre in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But the synopsis: in a violent, near-apocalyptic Detroit, an evil corporation, Omni Consumer Products, known as OCP, wins a contract from the city government to privatize the police force. To test their crime-eradicating cyborgs, the company leads street cop Alex Murphy, played by Peter Weller, into an armed confrontation with crime lord Boddicker, so they can use his body to support their untested Robocop prototype. But when Robocop learns of the company's nefarious plans, he turns on his masters. And it goes from there, man. As I said, as far as the cast, we got Peter Weller playing Alex Murphy, aka Robocop. We got Nancy Allen, who has a prominent role as his partner on the police force, as well as Ronnie Cox, who's the evil corporate guy. And I think Kurtwood Smith stands out as well. He's kind of the Boddicker. He's a crime lord.
That's a name too. Kurtwood.
And this movie is just so wild. It's over the top. What I love about it is how it starts off with the news reports of what's going on in the world. And
I'm glad you touched on that, because that's the first thing I put on my notes.
And I like it because we see more news reports as this goes on, and it just shows us a world that's to the extreme. It's on the edge. It looks like society could fail at any moment from just one wrong, bad decision. There's really crazy stuff going on in the background of this movie.
But with these news clips, it brings a sense of realism to this world. You know what I'm saying? With them having like this, I mean, just think of how much imagination they had to put into not just creating this world, but then all these course events that are taking place. Even the two news anchors are just so charismatic.
I think that's a famous news anchor. I gotta look it up, but yeah, go ahead.
And then even like when they cut away to a commercial, it shows this like doctor, and he's talking about heart surgery. He's like, "Yeah, man, go ahead and get the Sport 9000 heart, made by Yamaha." It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I love the fact that it's so over the top, man. Yeah. I guess Casey Wong and Jess Perkins is the other, but I swear she was actually a real news reporter I would see on TV, maybe Entertainment Tonight or something.
And what's really cool too is that even though like we knew watching this film, when it first came out, that it is supposed to take place in a future element, but I like that they don't timestamp it with the date. They don't give us an exact date, so you never really know at what point in the future it's supposed to happen.
It's definitely in the future, but it's kind of in the near future. It's not too far off. And I do want to point out that she was on Entertainment Tonight. That's where I remember her from as a kid, and then it was interesting seeing her pop up in this movie as doing the same kind of job. But it's a world, and it's funny how you talk about the heart and then the car advertisement. It's very corporatized. Like, it looks like corporations run everything in this world. Even, getting to the point of our story where the corporation has been hired by the city of Detroit to take over the police force. Which is crazy.
Who would have thought that? And then this corporation is like, they pretty much they specialize in making like weaponry. Like, it's like a military based company. So it's like, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. You would think like, okay, so they can get the funding with making these weapons and whatnot. But
well, that's ultimately what they want to do. You get our product out here. We're using Detroit as a test ground as well, and then hopefully the other cities see what we're doing in Detroit, and they put in orders, for their own RoboCops or Ed 209s. But it's a crazy world, because like I said, like in a way, if you think about it, police forces are already kind of privatized in a way. When you look at some of these contracts the unions have with the city, it's just not so blatant like that. OCP is running. It'll be like Amazon running the police force because it's omni consumer products.
Yes.
They are
like in this one, like I mean, it almost is like you almost expect for it to look like a sports team jersey where they have the advertisement patches on the damn uniform and shit.
Yeah. They haven't gone that far, but also at the same time, this contract is new, so who knows where that could have went.
What I'm saying.
And also it introduces the idea of not only is there the crime is raging in the streets, but in this corporate world, it's damn near just as ruthless. Like these executives are at each other's throats.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And like you kind of see a young executive. He's butting heads with the main guy in a way, and like it's wild. So so I guess is that the first thing we kind of see though? It's interesting. There's a board meeting in this movie,
and then that's when the dude who's supposed to be like our head villain, what's his name, Ronnie Cox's character, and he introduces us into Ed 209, who is like it's the first robotic, pretty much cop element that they're trying to install and mass produce and start putting out in the streets and stuff. And I mean, pretty much he looks kind of like a mix between a tank and something. Like the legs look like
a
Robocop,
like a mech from like a video game.
Yeah, but both arms are machine guns
or Metal Gear.
And dude, it's so messed up because I mean, this is one of those situations where like obviously the man with the plan. He's given his presentation and everyone's willing to help. It's one of those things where whenever he says a sentence, everyone's clapping. They're all brown noses and shit. So he tells this one dude, "Hey man, I need you to help me out with this demonstration. Go ahead and pick up this Desert Eagle right here, point it at Ed 209 and act like you're gonna go ahead and rob him." So he does. Ed 209's like, "Yo, drop the weapon." And then so he was like, "All right." And Ronnie Cox looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, I think you might want to do that." So. The little intern is like, "Yeah, all right, you got it.
You want to score points with the boss."
And then at 209, still looking at him, he's like, "You got 15 seconds to comply. 10 seconds to comply." He's like, "Yo, the gun is down. What the fuck?" And then he starts running for his like the whole board meeting. Everyone's hiding under the table. No one's helping him. Next thing you know, at 209 just unleashes a fury
on him.
Of bullets,
dude. And this kind of sets tone in another way too. Like the way this dude is shot up, it's probably the most extreme. Like to me, it's just almost as bad as when Murphy gets taken out. Like the way it almost looks like he's getting hit with I don't know, like anti-aircraft.
I was about to say, like the bullets that be on a helicopter or something.
Dude, he just gets blown to a pulp. The squid work. It's ultra violence, man.
Oh my gosh!
And I think this film had trouble getting an R rating. I think it was initially released in a lot of places here as NC-17, in a lot of movie theaters. And it kind of, it kind of brought in that rating system because they were like, man, this is a little bit more extreme than R. We got to make sure that, and this is like, no one could come in here. If you're not, like with rated R, you could get in with an adult. Yeah. With NC-17, you can't. If you're not 17, you can't get in. Period.
And, another thing I really like about this scene is it gives us, a real firm idea of the company and who we're dealing with. Because I mean, instantly after this dude is shot up from head to toe, I mean, he's obliterated, turned to mashed potatoes.
Yeah, somebody should be going to jail for this.
Call an ambulance. Like what? And then so. Ronnie Cox's character goes up to, the head guy, and he's like, "Oh, this is nothing to worry about. This is just a minor glitch. We'll get it all worked out." Well, this dude's life is not. It's almost like it's
the thing is interesting here is Ronnie Cox is kind of screwed because they had the whole company was on the line with this project, and they were looking to get a big contract. Yeah, and it's interesting because then the younger dude comes in and is like, "Well, we had a backup plan. We should try that." Yeah. And it's weird because. On one case, it does save Ronnie's ass, but at the same time, he's still kind of looking bad because his Ed 209 failed so bad, and I guess because
this younger guy undercut him.
Yeah,
he clipped his wings.
Yeah, where's his face at?
You talking about the younger guy?
Yeah,
it's played by Miguel Ferrer.
Oh yeah, that's right, Bob Morton. Yeah, so Bob steps up, and he's like, "Yeah, let's try a RoboCop thing. We just need a volunteer." And it's interesting that when he says volunteer, basically they're waiting for an officer to get injured because for whatever reason they
die.
For whatever reason they need a human component.
Yeah,
they never really explained that why. Because Ed 209 was totally autonomous, but for some reason with this RoboCop thing, they need a human brain, to help.
Probably because that cool helmet only comes halfway down, so you need a little bit of face to hang out to get that Batman.
It doesn't really make sense in hindsight, but also supposedly this program is cheaper too than Ed 209.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But they go ahead and go with it, and it's crazy. Murphy's a rookie, and they set him up. To go on this crazy
this was his first day.
Yeah, first day
transferring from South Metro down to and even I guess a harder precinct, a worse area, I guess for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, because I like how the black police chief, there's always the black police chief. And he's like, yeah, we do work around here, Murphy. You know what I'm saying? Implying that
this ain't Southside.
Yeah. So basically, him and Lewis, his partner, they go out, you know what I'm saying, and run into these guys immediately. And it's so crazy, man. Like, what I like about the bad guy crew, they're just so over the top bad in a way that dudes like this are not going to last long out in these streets. But I guess Detroit is so corrupt and so shitty at this point that flies out there. But they immediately, on the highway, they run into these guys and they're just doing hot shit. Which also should be a sign, you know what I'm saying? That Murphy was kind of set up as the volunteer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but it's crazy. They get in the shootout on the highway.
Yeah.
and then they track these guys to the hideout. They get kind of separated. Murphy gets ambushed, and dude, this is another super violent moment, man.
Oh.
They pretty much start taking Murphy apart with a shotgun.
It's stuck with me ever since the first time I saw it. When my man is pointing the gun, like he's aiming the gun at him and making this noise like he's toying with him.
These are the worst bad guys. They're so annoying to me.
The one guy, every time he laughs, he sounds like a jackal.
But when they start, dude, they shotgun his hand and that joint it's obliterated.
Yeah.
Then they just start going up his arms and it's just tendons hanging out. And then they just unload on him.
But about 6 of them all shottied up, and they empty clip on them. Yeah, all of them.
But the violence is so over the top, man. At one point, I was watching it last night when he's getting shot. I was like, bruh, anyone normal would have failed, just even off the momentum of the rounds hitting them.
Yeah, he's just got a bulletproof vest on.
He's just there like, it's almost like he's doing a dance.
Yeah. They shot him into the Macarena and shit.
And finally, the part that's crazy to me, I wonder who did the FX on this, man. I'm kind of thinking this might have been a Stan Winston thing, but I'm not sure. But at one point, you noticed that the whole body part was just a dummy, a model. Yeah. At one point, and he's kind of got this grimace on his face, and then boom, they shoot him in the head, and that's it. And then,
but that was the thing too. Like, was it because the bullet, like you see clearly, like the bullet enters like slightly off to the side?
Yeah, it's off to the side. It's not like a straight down headshot. Yeah.
So I guess that's what kind of like gives him the opportunity to kind of live a little bit longer than he was expected to.
A little bit. Because he definitely goes. And there's that interesting moment where they're prepping him for surgery to get the Robocop thing, and his other arm is good, and somehow they're having that talk. It's like, you want to keep the arm or not? And then dude's like, man, get rid of the arm. You know what I'm saying?
We want to go full on Robo.
Yeah, Robo. Yeah. So the only thing really they got is like, I guess his face. And his brain. And so they do what they do, but and then we get back to the police force, and I like when he goes into the thing, because I think the chief is complaining about OCP because they was like, yeah, we've taken over, and they just show up out of nowhere with all this equipment and stuff. He's like, what are you doing? He said, man, we don't report to you. We're running the show, which is crazy. and they're still arguing, but all of a sudden you just hear this
loud ass footsteps,
which I think is really dope how they introed him, and he's walking in slow motion. You kind of just see the side or the back of him, and they all just like, what the fuck?
And it's almost like I mean, he's walking robotic like, but he's very militant too. Like the way he cuts his corners, it looks like it's somebody like that has a military background and everything too. Like, and then not for nothing, I love the score. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like this was at a time when all of these heavy hitter movies, whether it's the hero or the villain, Jaws, whatever the case may be, everyone had a theme song, and this was no different. Robocop's theme song was just as badass as anyone else who has one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the music definitely does a lot of heavy lifting in this, and a lot of the scenes, man. So I mean, he kind of gets acquainted and gets hooked up, and then there's the what I like too is the montage of him going out in the streets and to start doing his first crime solving, which is also ridiculous. That I just can't even imagine, even if he was, workable, for them to so easily get an autonomous thing on the street fighting crime. Like you could, we don't even got self-driving cars yet on the street that can operate legally.
Right.
Like it's
right. And this is day one. I mean, they just unplugged them and shit. They're like, yeah, all right, go ahead, get that man a car. He's got some crimes.
So there were several crimes during that. Which one was your favorite one, dude?
I liked the first one. I did like the first one, the dude where he's robbing the couple. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was really cool. But and then of course, when he saves the woman, when he shoots through the dress. And
my favorite is the dude. I don't know that guy's name in the movie. I forgot, but apparently he lost the local election. And he's pissed off, and he's got all the hostages.
He was mad, because he wasn't the mayor. Yeah.
Yo, my man's on the phone like, yo, I need the car. Then that car comes back and they play the
SUX 6000.
That
like, car looks dope though.
He's like, I need a helicopter. He's like, I need
a fresh pot of coffee.
And he said, I need a recount. And no matter the results, I want my old job back.
In a corner office. I was like, dude, you really think you're gonna get all that shit?
And this is my best favorite part because Robocop comes into the building and then he's using his robo stuff so he could kind of see a thermal image of the guy through the wall, and he reaches through the plaster wall and grabs him,
rips him through the wall,
and then throws him out the window. And this was one of my favorite parts. They throw him out the window, and then it's like a freeze frame, and it cuts to the news of the same view of him getting thrown out the window. It's just so well done.
There's a new sheriff in town.
It's so great, man. I love that shit, dude. Like it's amazing, man. But I do also I think that elevates his plot later on. We kind of, even though Murphy's dead, but I think the fact that they use his brain, somehow there's some ghost memories in there. You know what I'm saying? And that's where things get a little interesting. They get a little extra, and even the way, which I think was dope too. That scene. Let me go back to that where he's shooting. And I believe it's his partner, Lewis. She notices that he's twirling a gun like he did. So there's some Murphy still inside this, and even later on when he has idle time, he kind of sits on this thing. I guess it's like his charger, you know what I'm saying, and his food station. And he has memories. Like, he doesn't know who he is, but he has memories of his family.
And then what happened to him, memories of the people that took him out.
And the nightmares from that, from that trauma. So he's kind of dealing with some PTSD in a way.
And then moving slightly forward past that part, when he actually does, figure out that he's more than just a machine, when he goes to the house, he gets all these flashback memories. You know what I'm saying? It's he's almost reliving what that house, but he's walking through an empty house. Yeah, and it's crazy because there's a moment later on in the film where he's talking to Lewis about it, and he's like, and I guess she knows a little bit, they moved after the funeral, and he's like, I could feel them, but I don't remember them. You know what I'm saying? Which is really crazy. It elevates this thing, and it leads him down a path because these memories start coming back. Even like you said, the dudes that killed him. And it's interesting, he actually encounters one of them gas station.
at the gas station, pulling off some petty crime. Like these criminals are so over the top, so stupid.
And I don't even know how did my man know it was him. Because soon when my man saw Robo, he's like, man, we killed you, man.
I think it was the chin, bro. Like, all of that.
He definitely has a very.
It's interesting, man. The movies that made us, they have an episode on this, and I would encourage you to watch it on Netflix. And they were talking about when they casted Peter Weller, they really wanted someone who had a distinct jawline and mouth. So you know what I'm saying?
Because I mean, that's what you're seeing.
Yeah, and that's all you see through the whole movie. So I feel like, you know, that would make sense for that guy, especially if you just shot him and you know that got to be burnt in your head. Even though you're a scummy bad guy who's done tons of crimes, you're definitely going to remember that one. But
yeah, this was one. And then the poor old couple, man, they got their safe hidden behind like a pyramid of empty beer cans.
But the bad guy, he recognizes the bad guy, and that starts him investigating. Because at that moment, the guy almost gets away because Robocop's kind of stuck. He's having a flashback moment.
And this dude like had all intentions on blowing up the fucking gas station too.
Yeah, and he recognizes them, and then that's what makes him, you know, it's an interesting scene. He goes back to the station, accesses the database, punches dude's numbers in, and then he finds Bodecker name comes up as a known affiliate, and that even leads to more flashback, and he's starting to put this thing together.
Which, not for nothing, but just on that note, it was really cool to see like the futuristic mindset that the people that wrote and directed this, you know, had, because that was our first vision of what we would now call, I think, a flash drive. That big middle finger thing
in a way,
that came out, and then there was a slot. He puts it in.
Yeah, I was
download, upload data.
I was impressed too. That was pretty much like the IT room with all the servers and all the interesting computer stuff.
I mean, so not only does it look like a cool middle finger and it's a punch spike, but it's also the first version of a flash drive.
Yeah,
so Robocop was well beyond his years.
And I think, you know, that sends him down a road to, you know, like I said, investigating, figuring out what's going on. But then we have another moment with the corporate level where he breaks down. The old man comes and gets his revenge. You know what I'm saying, on Bob Morton, which is an interesting scene. Bob has just, you know, so the Robocop program is a hit. So he's like, man, I'm about to party, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's hanging out. You know, he's got his ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, my man sends out what he says, Bodecker.
Yeah, and then we find out like Bodecker is Ronnie Cox's like head henchman. So then you find out that the dude who's running the company that's running the cops also is employing the guy who's out there and already got 31 cops on his murder belt. Yeah, come on.
And that's a crazy just ties that lead up, and he investigates more, and actually, Bodecker does what he's sent to do, which is crazy to me, right? So they have Bodecker as this crazy crime lord of Detroit, and I'm like, dude, it's so over the top in a film like this. No crime lord is going to be that close to the crime. You know, it'll be like if Joe Biden actually led troops into battles. Like it's just. But for this movie, they do that, and
And I mean, he's suspect number one. I mean, they got his face all on the news. He's just out. I mean, it's like, come on,
it's
dog.
too close, and especially even on the espionage level. In hindsight, as you can look at this film and be like, nah, that wouldn't break down like that, because he's the one. He takes out the young upstart executive.
Yep.
So then, my man, he's back in charge, and they're going forward. But while this is going on, RoboCop pretty much pieces together, that they've got something involved. This corporation, OCP, is corrupt, and they have the ties to the crime lord Bodecker. So he starts, he's going to go after them, dude, and that's an interesting moment where he actually does confront what was his name, the old man.
I just keep calling him Ronnie Cox. That's his real name.
Confronts him, and I thought that was interesting because that's when we get the Ed 209. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and also he installed a feature in this dude in RoboCop. It was like Section 4 or some derivative 4 or something like that, where if RoboCop tries to arrest or detain a senior officer or a senior employee of OCP, like he starts to glitch out and he will automatically shut off.
So RoboCop has 3 prime directives: serve the public, trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law. But like you said, he's got a fourth hidden
which he knew nothing about. So it's like, so the higher ups or the company that signs the checks, they get free reins. Like you can't do shit to them.
Can't do nothing to him. But that's interesting. So he's there, and then he turns Ed 209 on Robocop, which is an interesting battle. I like the Ed 209 design, but I wish they would have went with like maybe a more animatronic. You know, even if they had to do the thing where they can't shoot the whole thing at once, kind of like the Alien Queen. But this is early, so because I think the stop motion route for me it just doesn't look good. You know, it doesn't hold up.
I am partial to the villain Kane in the second one. I like the look of Kane in RoboCop 2 way better than Ed 209, but I do like Ed 209.
Yeah, I like the design of him, but the movement it's
definitely like almost like claymation. Like it's like watching Gumby with machine guns.
And there's some little silly stuff they do with it, but RoboCop's having a tough time because the funny thing about RoboCop, like that suit wasn't very mobile, so the action. There's a moment where Ed 209 is shooting them rockets, and he's kind of like just barely limping out of the way. And it was cracking me up earlier when I was rewatching it. But with RoboCop, he's jacked up.
I mean, and it took for RoboCop. RoboCop had to take Ed 209 into the stairwell, and only because Ed 209 big ass couldn't make it down the steps, and then he falls. And then that was funny too because he makes noises like an animal. Like when we first are introduced to Ed 209, he like kind of like growls like a lion or something. And then when he falls down the steps and he ends up belly up and shit. Yeah, he sounds like a pig or some kind of like weird like defenseless animal. And then poor RoboCop, as if that wasn't enough, then he finds out that he's greenlit. So soon when he gets out of the staircase, the whole entire police force is like, yeah, we taking you out.
Yeah, and which is interesting because that's the corporate orders.
Corporate orders. And it's wild because it's like, this is coming from the cops who continuously talk about going on strike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
there
first
might be a plot hole here.
Yeah, so first the cops, they want to go on strike. RoboCop comes in, starts doing their job. Then it's like they give him high praise for doing the job. Then they get jealous of him because he's doing the job better than they can. So either which way they want to go back on strike. And now, they want to take him out to kind of get him out the way so they can do their job back so they can then just turn right back around and go the fuck back on strike.
And then that was so crazy to me because they all lined up to take him out. And then later on, Lewis is like, he's like, where are the others? He's like, just me. The precinct was empty. Yeah. Everybody on strike. And I was just like, hold up.
Yes. But one thing that I did notice.
Went on strike after y'all tried to take him out.
One thing that I noticed that I thought was really cool is the way that they did. I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but when the cops start unloading on him, we get that same sense. It looks the same way as when the bad guys unloaded on him.
They did that on purpose.
Whereas now the cops are unloading on him, and it's the same thing.
He's kind of a Flash. I don't know how the hell he got out of here. This don't make no sense.
I mean, well, he's made out of titanium.
Yeah, but still, he's not totally indestructible. You know what I'm saying?
They cracked his visor.
He got roughed up. Then they shooting him in the butt.
Yeah,
he looked like Rodney King out here right now.
Oh my gosh, poor guy. Just lucky he found his way to just slide off the little bit of curve that was. And Lewis was just there.
He rolls off the edge.
He rolls off the edge.
Yeah, he can't jump, and then Murphy scoops him up under fire. Like I don't know how this goes.
Yeah, there he goes.
Oh my God, yeah, this is bad.
RoboCop was going through it. And
but yeah. So after Bodacker, he's taking out the young executive, and this stuff happens to RoboCop. He comes back to the OCP boss, and the boss is like, bro, you left some loose ends, man. Murphy's still alive. I got this connection to this other guy too. You know what I'm saying? So Murphy has all that on his file in his brain
because before he saw Ronnie Cox, he did encounter Bodecker, and I mean he was beating the shit out of him.
Yeah,
and dude started diming out everyone. He was like, man,
he gave him up real quick.
Oh yeah, he was like, just stop hitting me with them big metal hands, man. And he started tattletaling like shit, and then that's when Ronnie Cox was like, bro, he's a computer. He's got all that shit documented.
And that's a weird thing because now you got Bodecker coming into the office openly, but it kind of speaks to how much corrupt OCP is and how powerful they are as an organization, that they could be this close to criminal elements and no one's going to question them. Just basically let them do, what they want to do. And it's nuts, dude.
And it was his demeanor with it too. He was like, man, fuck that. I work for this dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what I do. This dude pays, he pays me to do this shit. So
yeah,
it's almost like he felt like he had the upper hand in the situation the whole time.
Yeah. So, Nancy and Lewis and Robocop, they go to this industrial wasteland. He's kind of nursing his wounds. And I guess he goes back and gets some guns and stuff, because they're going to have to go after Bodacker. They had some tools so he could kind of fix himself up a little bit. And interesting thing is, he finally removes his helmet so we can see that his face is there, but it's like all electronics around that, where everything's held together and stuff. And it's really weird
because this is a testament to the special effects, man. It still holds up. It
still
looks
look
great.
It does look good.
Looks great.
It does. Yeah, they do a good job with that, man. But yeah, basically after that point, man, we get another battle. Bodacker, they're coming to take Robocop out. They've kind of done a little bit of thing where they're kind of fortified their area to give themselves an advantage, because it's just him and Lewis against the entire the gang, you know what I'm saying? And even they've got some new guns and stuff. There was that crazy scene where my man rolls up in the SUX 6000. He's like, yeah, man, look at my ride. And then Bodacker pulls out the gun. He's like, I got a new gun, bro. Let's try it out. He shoots my man car.
Yeah, man.
He just blows the whole car.
Yeah, it's like a fucking, it's a bazooka that looks like a big ass like assault rifle.
Looks like a 50 caliber.
Yeah.
But they put all the extra prosthetics and stuff on it, man. But anyway, they go to finish the job. They got to get rid of Robocop because he's got the memory banks, and and it's not just that he remembers it. He's recorded. He's got video of it, so he can play that back to anyone could see it.
And I like too. Also, it really when he's fixing himself up, it really shows like Lewis is really like his friend. Like she doesn't dehumanize him, even though he is this robot cyborg thing. I mean,
it's just weird because they only worked one day together, but I guess the way it worked, that's a traumatic event.
And she saw him, she was behind the barrel watching him get executed. Yeah. But that scene where he's trying to get his aim together, and then he asks her, he was like, "Yo, I need you to help me. I got to recalibrate my aim or whatever." Yeah. And she kind of helps him. It was just really cool, the fact that and she did it with no hesitation, I'm gonna help this dude get back on track, you know what I mean?
And I guess they used one of the tracking devices earlier to track him down. That's another thing. So OCP is just so corrupt. They gave them the tracker, so they know where him and Lewis are, and they come in there, and it's an interesting scene. It's action packed. They've got the big guns. The wildest part to me though is that I remember so much as a kid. It kind of traumatized me when my man falls into that vat of acid.
Yeah, the toxic waste, and he comes out and he's like, "Here, man!" His whole lip is falling off.
It's so nasty.
Yeah,
and then they hit him with the car, and he just turns to mush, dude.
And it's like blood, but green too. It's green and red on the windshield.
It's man, nasty. Bro. Yeah, this thing is really violent, man. I will say that they definitely. But I think they were trying to be so outrageous with it to try to make it cartoonish, but this thing it kind of holds up, dude. It hits hard, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, basically, they finally, the confrontation is kind of sad because we do lose Lewis. I was a little bit upset about that, and they're doing everything they can. I think they end up dropping a bunch of debris on Robocop, pins him down. And they're about to go in for the kill. That's when I thought she
made it through. I know. She gets trapped up, but at the end, Robocop's got the big iron thing, and she was like, "Man, Murphy, I'm pretty fucked up." And then he kind of murphs.
Is she in part 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
He's like, "Girl," and he moves the thing, and then it shows them.
I'm remembering it correctly. Yeah, I thought she didn't make it.
She does get hit up.
Though. Yeah, she gets hit up. She gets hit up, but at her last act, she ends up blowing up the crane, that dropped the debris on him, and which gives him a second, and he's able to beat Bodacker. Bodacker, stabs him, but then Robocop pulls out that knife, and
he gets that punch, that awesome ass flash drive, punch him right in the throat with it,
and he's done. So, but all right. I thought she didn't pass away because there's that part where he's like, he's like, they'll fix you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they'll fix you right up.
They fix everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So finally, his last act, he goes back to the corporate headquarters. And it's interesting, that comes into play because he's like, I'm going to take you in. You're under arrest.
Talking to Ronnie Cox's character.
Yeah, and then
he's still under that derivative 4, so he
can't do nothing.
Can't do anything.
And then but it's interesting because the recording's on the screen, so all the corrupt stuff is coming out. And then one of the bosses is like, "Man, you're fired."
And then he looks at him, he's like, "Thank you." Shoots his ass.
Yo, that's so.
And then yet another one gets shot up out the window. I don't know how many people get tossed or shot out or flung out of a window in this movie, but man,
I think even in part 2, somebody go out the window.
That just must be a Detroit thing.
Yeah, but that's it. Then that's it. I mean, honestly, that's the movie right there.
Yeah, credits start rolling.
Yeah, but I love this film, man. It still holds up. Like it's one of the ones from the 80s that still entertains and just it's a good time, man. And I think I like some of the other stuff too that's there under the surface that you didn't really need to put in, but I think it works. It adds a humanity to him. It makes the character more interesting, by adding the flashbacks and I forgot he blows up Ed 209 with the gun.
He does. Yeah, he gets one of their big fucking bazooka rifles.
Because Ed 209 murder his ass.
I mean, he takes him out quick. He just puts that thing right on the roof of the car.
Yeah, that's definitely a 50 cal barrel. They made this joint all black instead of the silver and put the extra stuff on it. Mm-hmm. But it works, man. Like all the extra stuff they do that makes it rise above. Because even I read that, if you watch that Movies That Made Us, he said Verhoeven, he skimmed through the script, he didn't like it, but then I think his wife read it and was like, "Yo, there's some cool stuff here." And then he went over it and was looking at those elements, like of the flashbacks that Murphy has as he's Robocop, and the more humanity elements that they bring to that character that made him like, "All right, let's go, let's do it."
And not for nothing, this is one that you got to reach for the imagination,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then this also came out at a time when the only other film that even kind of touched on similar notes was Terminator, and that was a completely different vibe than what this one gave us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's crazy. We had a robotic, cybernetic thing as the assassin. So what happens when you make the cyborg the protector? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think this does a good job of exploring that.
And another thing I like about it too is it moves at a very rapid rate. You know what I'm saying? It's about it's a little over an hour and 40. I think it's like an hour 42 minutes. But they don't waste no time, man. Like we get the character build up. But I mean, everything that happens to Murphy, the man, the cop, that all happens within like the first 20 minutes, and then we're knee deep into the Robocop element, you know what I mean, and all these other things that this film brings, and that's what I like in a movie. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to spend mass amounts of time, just getting to know the characters on such a personal level. Just give us the meat and potatoes of it, and then let's
because
move on.
Even that, we do get a brief time with Murphy before he gets shot up, but that's all we need to establish that this guy's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Even the gun twirl is great character filler. Like he says this is my kid's favorite show, and
he thinks
the guy does that.
Guys,
and the guy does that, and she kind of busts his balls a little bit about it. It's like, it's not just for your kid. You like doing it a little bit too. And he's like, and it's cool because you kind of get more insight into who he is.
Yeah, him as the family man. Yeah. And at the same time,
without having to see it actually be on the screen.
Right. And at the same time, you're also seeing, their partner dynamic as well. Like you're seeing that she's kind of fond of him and he's like, he's opening up to her and stuff. Like I said, they're covering a lot of bases in one swoop, which is good, saves time, saves effort and energy, and then just kind of helps the film just move at a solid, steady pace. And this one, I mean, like I said, I have nothing negative to say about it. I love it. It still holds up now.
Yeah.
Just to think, man, this joint came out in '87 and it still looks this visually
I
appealing.
wonder what the budget was on this thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's crazy. Because it was a box office hit.
Absolutely.
I think initially it did about 54 million. Wow, 13 million, and it made 54 million, which is a great hit. But this thing probably did gangbusters on video.
Absolutely. And then, like I said, it also it gave us, you know, a dope ass sequel too. Like I know the sequel pulled numbers too, because this one was so impactful that people were chomping at the bit, myself included. When I found out there was gonna be a Robocop 2, I was like, man, shit, I got to see that shit. You know,
yeah, which is interesting. I haven't seen that one in a while. I don't think I liked it as much as this one, but
no.
Interesting thing is that one's written. I think he directed it. I know he definitely wrote it. Frank Miller of comic book fame, who did the Dark Knight Returns, which actually reinvigorated the Batman franchise. You know, because he was a comic book artist.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that is the news scenes. They kind of have those same news scenes here, but it's different because they're more Frank Miller style. Because Frank Miller used that same tactic in his the Dark Knight Returns series, you know, in the comics, you know, so it's okay. So the director of that one was Irvin Kershner, but the story was by Frank Miller and Wallen Green. So yeah. I mean, the story was a little bit more ambitious, you know, in a lot of ways, but there are some things that I think you kind of lose by not having Verhoeven, you know, as a guy, because Verhoeven has a certain really interesting touch to his films, man. Starship Troopers and even Total Recall is just such great world building that you know, he does with those films, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're out there, man. I think there's maybe how many? There's like 4 or 5 Robocops.
I only thought there was 2, and then there was a reboot.
Nah, there's a new one. There was at least 3. I think.
I know. Oh wait, no. You know what? There's Robocop 3. Robocop 3 is the one where he flies. They put the wings on his back, but I didn't like that one too much. And then they did the reboot where like Robocop's like his armor's all black.
Yeah. So there's at least 4 now if you count the reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was also there was actually a Robocop 4. Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah, it's called Robocop 4, The Future of Law Enforcement.
Oh no.
Yeah, that came out in 94. Crazy. What? That's wow, dude.
That must have went straight to VHS.
Something. Yeah, that's real interesting.
That one, I missed that one all the way.
I gotta.
I know it also. This franchise also gave us a few like comic books. I know there was a brief run. It was like RoboCop versus Terminator. And, you know, a couple other little.
Well, actually, there's
series.
3 that official. I don't know what that 4th one. Maybe that was just something, a fan film or something. So we got RoboCop 3 in '93, and then the remake in 2014.
Yeah,
there was a RoboCop television series in '94, and a brief mini series, I guess, that was called Prime Directives. And you've also had an animated series in '88, and then RoboCop Alpha Commando animated series in '98 to '99.
I do remember the RoboCop toys.
A couple video games, and like they've done a bunch of comic books. He's actually fought the Terminator.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. But yeah, ultimately, all I can say is, man, definitely check this thing out if you haven't seen it. It's one of the best. You know, it's definitely a classic for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of, you know, kind of inspired a lot of other, you know, knockoffs and other people who built upon, you know, the concepts that this thing was working on.
You know? And you know, it doesn't hit like a cops and robbers style film. It doesn't. You know, like, you know how like films that are based on law enforcement or cops as a whole. This one don't hit like that. It definitely feels different, you know, and I think that also adds to the success that this film had, because it separated itself, kind of just created its own lane in various forms. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. If you haven't seen it, sit down and watch this shit ASAP.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's it, folks, man. This has been another Classes of Cinematics, man. Only available on the From the Canopy Podcast YouTube channel. So subscribe and set your alerts so you can get notifications when we drop new episodes. And we're going to be back soon. I don't know if we figured out the next film yet, but Christmas season is coming, so we'll probably definitely get something in, at least one
something,
for the season.
Yeah, I got a couple that I'm thinking of,
Yeah, and then we'll be back soon, man. So you catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the podcast at From Canopy on Twitter, at From the Canopy on Instagram, and email us FromTheCanopyPod at gmail.com.
This is Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me at Bobby Blockbuster 118 on Instagram.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We out. Peace. Boom.